The goal of this video is to show you how to create a dynamic press section for your website where you or your client is going to be able to add, edit, or modify press articles just by going into the back end of the website. You'll also be able to create detailed press pages as well, where you can click out to the original source or even download the article itself. It's going to be pretty cool. Let's get started. Just a few ground rules before we start. If you're running the free version of Elementor, you're going to need to upgrade to the Pro version because it's the only one that allows us to do dynamic tags. Also, you're going to need Crocoblock JetEngine. This is the tool that we're going to use to create a custom post types as well as custom taxonomies. And though you can also use advanced custom post types if you feel more comfortable with the plugin, you'll be able to follow along. However, we really recommend JetEngine for ease of use and for all the advanced features that you get for such a low price. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. If you follow the tutorial, you'll be able to implement this on your website without any problem. However, in the future, I will be releasing a video that I'm going to go over all of the details on custom post types and custom taxonomies. So don't forget to subscribe and you'll be notified as soon as the video goes up. Okay, we're going to head over to the dashboard in WordPress. Then we're going to head down to JetEngine. And this is where we can actually manage our post types and our taxonomies, so that we can create for the press section. We're going to start with the post types first, and we're going to create one called press because that's what we're going to call the section. We want to make sure you label it something that makes sense with what you're trying to do. So we're going to click on the add new button here in the top, and then we're going to give the post type a name. Like we talked about, we're going to call it press. And then it will automatically create the type slug for you here, the post type slug. And you're going to be using this in the future, so you can make a mental note of it. All right, we're going to head down here. If you don't know anything about post types, again, just using these basic settings will get you going. But there's probably going to be a tutorial in the future that's more advanced when it comes to post types. All right, we're going to head down here. And for now, the only thing we're going to do is add a featured image for the thumbnail of the press article. And we're going to add an excerpt. I think basically anytime you add something to WordPress, you should always have an excerpt available. All right, we're going to add post type, and this should create a post type for us. And if you head down here to the left, you'll see one called press. All right, let's add a few things here to make it a little bit more interesting. We're going to go back into the advanced settings, and we're going to go into the menu icon, and this is going to change. Let's type in file. See doc. There we go. And that's going to create something that looks more like a little media document, and that's going to replace the thumbtack that you see here on the left. See update post type. And now when we refresh the page, you'll see now that the thumbtack has been replaced with that icon. All right, so there's a couple of additional fields because when you go to press and you go to add new, let's just put this away from full screen mode. When you go to this page here, when you're going to add a new press article, you'll notice that you have your feature image on the right hand side, you have the excerpt, you have the title, and you have the area for this article, but we're missing an author. We're missing the original source, so the actual original article that you want to give credit to, and as well as a PDF if you wanted to make the article available for download. So we have to add those as meta fields inside your post type. And we're going to do that again by going to JetEngine, post types. We're going to choose the press one, and we're going to hit edit. And the great thing about JetEngine is that this is all kind of built in. So we're going to click on new meta field, and we said we were going to add one called author. That'll automatically create the name and ID. And then this is going to be a text field, and everything else is fine. We're going to add another meta field. This one's going to be the external link. So we're going to label it as such. Again, it'll automatically create the external link. And then I like to add a description here just to make sure that people add the HTTPS. So we're going to include that real quick. And then the last field we're going to add is a PDF field, which is going to be a media field. So we're going to select media, and then we can leave everything else as is. We're going to hit update post type, and then now when we go back to the press, add new, you'll now see that you have this additional field here, which is what we want. All right, perfect. Let's go now and let's add some taxonomies. So we're going to add publications. Basically what we want to do, and the reason why we want to add publications, is that every time you add a press article, you don't want to have to re-enter the publisher's name over and over and over. So let's say you have New York Times, and you spell New York Times in title case in one point, and another time you spell it in lowercase. You know, it's gonna look really odd. So we just want to create a taxonomy that we can relate all the articles that are from the same publisher together, categorize them together, so it kind of makes more sense. Also, when you're updating a logo, you only have to update it in one place, and that makes working on the media section a lot more efficient. So we're going to click on add new. Then we're going to choose publications as the taxonomy name. That's going to automatically use the slug. Same thing here. We can leave it all as is. And then we are going to go into advanced settings, and we're going to choose hierarchical. Okay, we're going to add the taxonomy. Sorry, I forgot to choose the post type. So under here, the post type, you want to make sure you choose the press, custom post type that we selected, so it associates publications to press. Okay, so we're going to add the taxonomy. And now when you hover over publications, press, you'll see a publications option available. Perfect. All right, the last thing we want to do is add a meta field for publication just for the logo, so we can easily add a logo in the future. And this is going to also be a media field. All right, and we're going to hit update taxonomy. So now let's just check it out, see how it looks, make sure that we have all the fields that we want. Here we go, publications, and then you have a logo here. So let's add 3 publications just so we have some so we can use. So we're going to add New York Post. We're going to choose media, and we're going to select the logo that we already previously uploaded. Make sure you always have an alt text for all the images you upload for accessibility purposes. We're going to click on add new category, and then let's add the additional publications. I think it's Chow Down. I don't remember. We'll figure it out now when we put the logo. So let's just see something. Yep, there it is. I'm going to go publications again. We're going to add now Eater. Okay, we're going to add new category. There's Eater. And then we're going to go back to publications, and we're going to add Chow Now. Choose media, and we'll select the logo. Add new category. Perfect. So now we have all 3 different publications available to us. All right. And then because when we created the taxonomy, we automatically created it to press. Now when we go to add new, now you'll see publications show up here and the ones that we created. So that's perfect. All right. So we have all of this taken care of. There's one more thing I like to do just to make things look a little bit nicer. Currently, when you go to press, you don't have the ability to see the publication name or the feature image. When you're dealing with a lot of content, it's nice to have an image to kind of refer back to, and you also want to check out like what publication was this article for. So let me give you an example. I'm going to pre-fill one with everybody here together, and then we'll automatically just add the other ones, pause the video and add the rest of the articles. So let me go ahead and plug in some content. We got the title, the description of the article, and we're going to add the author. And then we're going to select now under press, the publication. This is going to be Chow Now. And we're going to select the feature image, which is going to be the first one. Perfect. And then for the excerpt, let's just copy and paste the first sentence just for brevity's sake. So we're going to put it here. Perfect. All right, the external link should be usually it's a full article link. Right now I'm just going to point them to Chow Now. is to, again, make things a little bit more efficient. All right, perfect. The last thing to mention when you're dealing with press and a press section, the publication time is important. So let's say this was an article back from February 7, 2023. Make sure you select the correct date, and then we're going to hit publish. For now, we're going to leave the PDF section alone here at the bottom, and I'll show you what we can do with that in the future. Perfect. So now we're going to go to press, and now we'll see the article here. So let me add two more additional articles just so we have enough content to kind of play with. All right, so we're back. I added 2 additional news articles, press articles, just to have some to play with. And then the last thing we want to do, like I said, is we want to keep this nice and organized. So one of the cool things about JetEngine that's kind of built in is that you have the ability to modify some of the columns here. Advanced custom post types, unfortunately, at this time, does not allow you to do that. At least as far as I know. So we're going to go back into post types because we're modifying the press post type. We're going to click on edit. And we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see something called admin columns. We're going to click on that, and we're going to add a new admin column. So like I mentioned, one of the things we want to do is have show the feature image. So we have a visual reference when we're looking at the press articles. And then in JetEngine, you will be using something called a custom callback. And then it says it's a function, custom callback function name to get column cell value from. And then you can kind of select some of the built-in callbacks. And then to be able to render the feature image, you would choose render image. And then automatically it will just populate thumbnail, which is the one you want, and then it'll kind of give you a size. You can make it a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. I think the 100 is just fine. Great. We want this to be the second column right after the article name. And then we're going to add another one, and the other one's going to be the publication. For that one, you're going to choose post terms. Post terms is essentially referencing the taxonomy that are available to the press post type. So if you recall, we had the name of the taxonomy was called publications, and I'm going to show you that in a second, just so you know where I got this taxonomy name from. I'm going to hit update post type, and then let me just show you real quick. When you go to JetEngine taxonomies, under publications, you'll have the taxonomy slug, and this is what you need to put into that field. All right, now we go back to press. We click on press, and then as you can see, now we have an image related to that post, and we have the publication that's related to that post. Everything looks good. On the back end, I think we are officially done for now. So obviously now we want to go into the front end, and we want to, let's just pull up the website real quick. And we have on the menu here, we have the home page, we have a menu, we have the about page, and then we're going to create a news page here as well. So that's going to be done through the menu section of WordPress. So you can get to it 2 ways. If you're on this front end of the site, you can click on menus. If you are on the back end, you can just scroll to the bottom under appearance, and you can select menus. All right, so as you can see, you don't have any access to the custom taxonomies here. Post types. But what you can do is that you can create a custom link. Now, what do you need to put here? Now, if you recall, when you go to JetEngine post types, you see that the post type slug is called press. So this is going to be the link that we're going to add to the menu. So let's go into appearance menus again. We're going to add a custom link. We're going to put the full URL /press/. And then you can call it whatever you want. We're going to call it news for now. All right, so when we look at this, you have the full URL here and the label. And I think we're going to leave it there towards the end because that's the least important part of our menu. We're going to hit save menu, go back to the home page, refresh, and now we have news. So let's click on that. And as you can see, it's pulling up a default archive template for the Elementor Hello theme. Now, although this is fine, it looks a little crazy. So we're going to modify the look and feel of this archive template. So as you can see, this is an archive template. and Elementor lets you update those. So now we're going to head to Elementor under templates, and we're going to click on the theme builder. And then if you scroll all the way to the left here, you can create the archive from right here, or you can go to the right hand side and click on add new and then select archive. This is going to take us into the road of creating a template for the archive section. So you can use one of the pre-built templates, which are okay, but for the purposes of our tutorial, let's just create one from scratch. We're going to click on the close button here to be able to enter the editor. All right, first and foremost, like I always like to do in my tutorials, is I go to the settings and just make sure that everything is labeled correctly. So this is going to be a news archive template. This is going to be published right now, so we're going to hit publish. And then we can choose the condition. So where do you want this to display this template? You're going to add condition, and then we don't want all the archives. We want just the press archives to use this template. Now, if all the archives on your website will use something similar or exactly the same, you can choose all archives. But for our purposes, we want to make sure we control that press archive page. So we're going to select that, and we're going to hit save and close. All right, great. The next thing we want to do is under settings, make sure that you're previewing the dynamic content as, and you're going to want to make sure you choose press archive because we're dealing with the press, and we're going to hit apply and preview. And then now we know that we are previewing the right content. Great. So let's create a section, and then let's first add a little bit of spacing at the top of this section. Clicking on advanced. On the margins, we're going to unlink the values, and we're just going to add 60 pixels to the top just to have a little bit of room. Next, we're going to add a heading, and this is going to be an H1 because it's the main headline for the heading for the site, for the section. And then we're just going to say something like news, juicy news, and we're going to center that on the screen, and then we're going to choose the style that we created in the past called page headline. Perfect. So that looks pretty good. Again, you can design this however you want using the Elementor widgets. The most important thing is now just making sure that you actually create a grid. So let me show you how you do that. You're going to go into the widgets, and then you're going to go into the listing grid, and then you're going to put in here a copy of the listing grid from JetEngine. Now this is a JetEngine widget. If you don't have JetEngine, you won't be able to create this. Now you can use Elementor loop grids as well, and it will work just fine. Okay, now that we created the loop grid, the listing grid within JetEngine, we need to create a thing called a listing item. Now you can click on this link to create a listing item, or you can get to it in a different way. Let me show you the other way to get there, so you have a reference on how it's done. So we're going to exit the Elementor editor, and we're going to decide later. All right, we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom towards JetEngine again, and we're going to choose listings. Okay, we can click on add new because we're creating a new listing item, and then it's going to come from posts, and the post type, if you remember, is press. And we're going to call this news archive JetEngine. We're going to use the Elementor builder in order to build the listing item. So we're going to create listing item. Again, so far so good. Everything's easy. First thing we do, go to settings. Everything's good with the title. Publish is good. Listing settings, the listing source is going to be posts. Post type is press. Great. Now we like to create a width a little bit bigger, and I'll show you that now. When you click on create something, it's huge here, so that doesn't look very good when you're trying to preview something that's supposed to be a little square. So we're going to just give it a little bit of a width so we can actually look at what it will feel like when you're actually using real content. You can select this option, which would make the whole box clickable. This is great if everything that's going to be on there's going to be clickable. If it's just an image, you can just use that and it will work just fine. Have done that in the past. However, I am going to show you a cool trick towards the end of the video that you're not going to want to use this feature. Otherwise, you won't be able to do the other thing that I'm talking about. Okay, so we're gonna hit update one more time. I just like to save, make sure I don't lose my work. We're gonna choose the widget icon list here, and we're gonna drop in an image. Actually, we're gonna drop in the feature image. So feature image. And then you'll see that automatically it's already starting to pull the right information. If by any chance you don't get an image that's related to your press article, go to settings and make sure that this is what is coming from. So make sure, you know, if it posts, this won't show up. So you want to make sure it's using up the press post type to make sure it's pulling up the right image. Let's go back to the widgets, and we're going to have a heading for the date. And we're going to have a heading for the heading, the title of the article. So let's select the top heading, which is going to be the date. We're going to click on dynamic tags. Anytime you're dealing with dynamic content, you'll be using dynamic tags. We're going to choose dynamic tags, and we're going to choose post date. And that's going to give us a date. And then for the title, we're going to click on the second widget, and then we're going to choose post title. All right, so look at that. Perfect. Let's style this a little bit better because obviously this text is too big. We're going to go to typography, and we're going to choose description, so it's a little bit smaller. And then for the other one, we're going to choose description larger. All right, looks great. Now we're going to make this a little bit closer to each other. So we're going to choose this widget, advance, on link the values, and then we're going to just bring them in a little bit closer. Let's put -20. Excellent. Perfect. So now the only thing that's left to do in the listing widget is make sure that I guess what happens when somebody clicks on this image, right? We want them to take some action. So we choose the image, we go to link, choose the drop down, custom URL. Again, we're using a dynamic tag, and we're going to use the post URLs because we want to link to the post. Okay, that's the first option. And then we're going to do the same for the title of the article. Just make sure you select the widget, hit content, and then we're going to select link. We're going to choose dynamic tag, post URL, and then we're going to choose the h3 tag, and let's move it to the left. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. So we're going to put this at 14 because it's not as important. I feel like it's standing out a little bit too much. Okay, so now we have basically the listing item already built, and it's going to link to the post article. So we're done here for now. We're going to exit out, and then we're going to go again back into templates, theme builder, news archive, edit. All right, I'm trying not to have so many tabs open, so when I jump around, you guys can see where I'm going. So it's just taking a few more steps to get to the places I need to go. All right, so we're going to select the listing grid widget, right? Listing grid. And from the listing grid, we're going to just call out the name of the one that we just created, which was News Archive JetEngine. And then boom. Perfect. All the news articles are now showing up the way we want it. Let me just go through some of this stuff here on the left. In case your design is a little bit different, you can choose the number of columns. If you want 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, you can have as many columns up to 10, which is more than enough for our purposes. We're just going to use 3. You can show how many posts you want to show before you get to a little more or paging. You can do lazy loading. You can do grid design, make everything equal, which I like to make sure I select that in case you have something like this. The next column will appear at the right height on the page. You can use custom types and a lot more options here when you want to use the query builder, post queries, and you can dig a little bit deeper into that. For all intents and purposes, here we're pulling the articles the way we want them, which is from post date, from the recent date to the older date. But all that stuff can be modified by using the listing grid here on the left, using the post query right here. Okay, so this is looking good. Let's refresh the page now. And then now the news page looks awesome. You can see the articles and they're in the order that we want. There is one thing that's missing on this page, which is the publication logo. So we want to make sure we add that, which would obviously if you're running a news page, you want to make sure that you call out the publication. That's the whole point of having a news page. So let's go into that listing grid and change it. So we want to go into the listing item, which you can get to from here, or you can go through the process of going back to Elementor, then go into the JetEngine and choosing that option. But we can just get to it from here directly. It's a lot faster. Okay, so the way this works is that you're going to select the image widget. You're going to drag it on top of the date, and then you're going to click on dynamic tag. You're not going to choose feature image because that will pull that image. You're going to scroll to the bottom, and we're going to choose the term image. Why are we using the term image? Because we're using the taxonomy. Click on that. Then you're going to click back on the field, and then you're going to choose publications. Now it's a little bit wild to go back, but if you remember, this was the meta field was found all the way at the end here. So let's go to it real quick. JetEngine, taxonomies, edit, and then here you have it. So it's called logo. So that's how you reference it. You put the name logo in this little field here. All right. And there it is. There's the image. Now I think that looks a little bit large, so I'm just going to make it 50% width, 50% max width, and then I don't want it to be taller than 60 pixels. And then I'm going to hit content and move it to the left and hit update. Now let's go view page. It's going to take you to this funky menu. We're going to hit news, and then here we go. So this looks amazing already. All right, so the last step of creating this whole process of creating this section is just modifying what the single post page looks like. And again, that's very easy. We are going to go back to templates, template builder. And like I said before, we're going to be creating a single post, not a single page, because this is a post type. So we're going to go into single post, hit plus. We're going to close this out. And again, first thing we're going to do, go to settings and give it a name that makes sense. So we're going to call it news detail. And we are going to go to preview settings and select press. And then you can leave all, or if you want to preview a specific press article, you can also do that. Let's hit apply and preview. Right, and then we're going to publish it. Where do you want to display your template? We're going to add a condition. We don't want all singular pages. We want just the press pages. So we're going to choose press, all of the press pages, and save and close. Okay, so now we're going to build a page. We're going to add a widget. This is going to be 2 columns. Left hand side is going to be the feature information, including the meta fields the extra meta fields that we created. So let's go and hit plus, and then we're going to add 60 pixels to the top as margin. All right, I'm going to hit update one more time. Okay, so very simple. We just drag and drop feature image. It's going to go here. We're going to have a heading. So the post title is going to go on the right, and then we're going to have post content also on the right. And then we're going to drop another heading for the author. And let's just make this a little bit neater. So we're going to go in the title, and we're going to choose page headline. Let's make sure that's in H1. Yes, it is. This is going to be the author. So we're going to choose dynamic tag. And that's going to be a JetEngine custom field. And we're going to choose author. There it is. And then you can always add in the advanced section, you can add something that before whatever the dynamic field is. So we're going to say written by, just so it looks a little bit nicer. There it is. Hit update. You want to add some context to who that person's name is. We're going to make this, it's not that important, so we're going to put an H4, and we're going to give it a smaller text size. It's a little bit big still. Let's go with, that text size is fine. Let's just put 14. And then this text description here is fine. So this is pulling the title, the author now, and the description. And the last things we want to put is the external link in PDF. The way that I like to do it is I like to use a icon list here on the left hand side. And then since we're only doing external link and we're only doing PDF, we're going to get rid of the third item. So let's click on list item. This is going to be external original source. And then we're going to change the icon for a globe to represent internet. And then for the second item, we are going to go into the description here and we're going to select download PDF. And then we're going to choose a download icon. So download. Perfect. I actually like the other one. It's like a little arrow that points down in a circle. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, the next thing we need to do that we forgot to do was the link. We want to link out to, not the post URL in this case, we want to link out to the custom field, and we're going to choose external link. That way it links out to the other website, and we want to make sure that it opens a new window. Great. Then now for PDF, we are going to also use dynamic tags. Scroll to the bottom, custom field, we're going to choose PDF. Right, that was what we called it on the CMS at the back end. And we can open this in a new tab, in a new window as well, why not? Okay, let's hit apply. We want to leave apply link on the full width, so anywhere that you click on the row will become a link. Let's go to style and make the space between them a little bit bigger. And for the icon, let's just make it also a little bit bigger. And for the text, let's make it green, so it kind of matches the icon. Perfect. Let's hit update. Great. Now we're going to go to this page and refresh. And here we go. Perfect. This is exactly what we want. There's one more thing that's missing now that I think about it, and that's to add the logo on the top as well. So let's go to the widgets again, and now we're just going to choose an image. And again, dynamic tags. Scroll to the bottom. We want the term image. We want to select publications, and if you remember, it's called logo. All right, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make it 50%, max 50. Height is fine in this page, and we're going to move it to the left. Hit update one more time. And there we go. Now, if you probably won't notice, but if you hover over here, you'll notice that although download link, it's a link, it doesn't actually link to anything because there hasn't been any PDF uploaded for this New York Post article. So how do we deal with that? Because we don't want to show download PDF if there's actually nothing there. So the cool thing about JetEngine is that it also comes with some dynamic visibility options. So let's open a new tab so I don't have to exit out of here. And let's go to JetEngine, and we're going to go to the settings. This is the feature that you want to enable. If it's not enabled for you, make sure you enable it, or else this won't work. And then we hit save. Okay, we can close out of that. And let's refresh the Elementor Builder editor. Make sure it loads all the new features. Okay, great. Now, the way that the widget, the dynamic visibility feature works is that it applies to the whole widget. And if you notice here, we have one widget. So if we were to set the dynamic visibility, it would affect this whole thing. So let's say you were writing that it has to have a PDF. A PDF has to have been uploaded. If you don't upload a PDF, the original source, even if you did have it, will not show up. So the way that we want to do this is that we want to separate the original source from the download PDF, but still use an icon list, because it just makes the icon layout a lot easier to use. So let's duplicate it. Let's go to the first one, and we're going to remove download PDF. Let's go to the second one and remove original source. Great. And then now this looks a little bit like they're a little bit off from each other, so On the second one, I'm just going to add a negative margin of 10. Okay, so it's a little bit closer to each other. And then now each of them are their own widget. Great. Let's refresh the page and see where we're at right now. And here we go. So you still can click on it, but they're separate widgets. Let's go back to the news detail editor, and let's take care of this right now. So on the original source, we're going to go to Advanced. We're going to go to Dynamic Visibility, and we're going to enable it. And then we want to show the element if the condition is met. So show this only if the condition is met. We're going to click on this button. We're going to choose the condition that it exists. And then we're going to choose JetEngine, custom field, and external link. We're going to do the same for download PDF. We're going to go to Advanced, Dynamic Visibility. We're going to enable it. Show this only if the condition exists. And then we're going to choose JetEngine custom field PDF. Let's hit update. And then now let's refresh the page. So as you can see, because there is no PDF under this article, the original source is the only thing that shows up. Let's go to the other sections just to kind of drive that home. On their eater, there's no original source. So let's add an original source. Let's go to edit post. I'm sorry, not original source, a PDF. And then we're going to choose media, select the PDF, and hit update. And then click on view post. And then now the download PDF shows up. So when you click on it, it'll open a new window and you can download the PDF. That's simple. Okay, so we have all the elements built on this wonderful news page. We've created a listing grid here. We've added the headline. We've created additional pages inside that you can link to for further information. You can click on the original source to make sure that the original publication gets the credit. So we've done everything that we needed to do in order to make this work within JetEngine. So let me show you that one trick that I wanted to show you before we head out. We are going to basically, what happens if your client or you don't want to link into an individual press article, because sometimes you don't want to have to retype all this information, or you think it's not right that you're, pasting some of these press articles in your own website. You just want to link out to the original source. So how do you do that on this other page? So I can show you a way that you can do it, so you can do either way. So let's get out of here. We're going to exit this part of the Elementor section. And if you recall, you edit the design of each individual listing grid item by clicking on listings. We're going to go into that right now. So let's edit with Elementor. All right, so we're going to take advantage of the JetEngine dynamic visibility feature that we used in order to be able to create this for ourselves. The ability to either link in if something's happening, or to link out if that's what we want to do. So we're going to drop in a container. Remember, the visibility options apply to the container or a widget. So we're going to create a container up there, and then we're just going to move all the content to that container. Okay, let's just move it first, and then we'll deal with making it look pretty. So it's the image, feature image, logo, perfect. Great. All right, so that's one. And then what we do is we're going to duplicate it. And then we have a second one. All right, so the first one's going to behave like how our normal link out behaves. So it's going to behave like it currently does. It's going to, you click into the article and it's going to take you to the detail page. So we're going to select the container. We're going to go into Advanced, Dynamic Visibility, and we are going to enable Dynamic Visibility on this container. And then we want to show this element when condition exists, and we're going to choose the post content. Now when you look here, you will see that no post content shows up. I mean, that kind of sucks. So we're going to head all the way to the bottom, and there's going to be an option that says current object field. We're going to choose that option, and we're going to be able to choose from here content. And we're going to hit update. For this container, we're going to do a little bit of the inverse. We're going to choose this container. We're going to click on advanced. We're going to dynamic visibility. We're going to enable it, show element if condition is met. And we're going to say if does not exist. And we're going to choose go all the way to the bottom. Current object is going to be the content. And we're going to hit update. Now, if we did this right, when we refresh the page, we can see that right now you go into every single thing. So this is right, and the reason why this is right is because we still haven't, all these articles have content. So let's just go into this one, and let's just remove content from this one. So let's just remove all of this content. All right, so this should stay empty, and let's hit update. All right, so let's go view post, and let's click on news. Okay, so it's still linking inside, and the reason for that is that we haven't updated the link. So let's do that now. We're gonna go back into this section. We're gonna hit on the actual image. Make sure you have feature image selected, and then instead of linking to the post URL, we're gonna close that. We're gonna click on dynamic tags. We're gonna choose custom field, and we're gonna choose an external link. And that's going to now link out to the other one. And then we're going to choose the heading. Take this off. Dynamic tags. Custom field. External link. And we're going to open this in a new window. And I'm going to do that also for the image, just to make sure that we have the right settings here. Okay, let's reload the page and see what happens now. So these ones are linking to inside pages, and now this one, if you look at it, it's going to link to a Chow Now. So that's a pretty cool feature because it gives you the flexibility of your client being able to link out just from here or to have a detailed page inside. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is, okay, that's great, but I don't like to use JetEngine. I'd rather just use the Elementor Loop Grid Builder. How do you do it with the Loop Grid Builder? It's very simple. We're going to, let's just go and take care of that now. Let's go and exit out of here. And let's go into the archive template. So under templates, theme builder, and we're going to choose the news archive. We're going to hit edit. And then I'm just going to show you real quick how you do it with the Elementor Loop Grid Builder. It's called just the Loop Builder actually. All right, so here's the Loop Grid Builder, and we're also going to add it at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to say Loop Grid starts with a template. It's kind of the same process if you think about it. Let's go ahead and create template. Would you like to save changes? Yes. Perfect. So again, feature image. It should be pretty simple, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Feature image. This is going to be the logo, so we're going to choose an image, and we're going to put that under. We're going to go to dynamic tags, term image. Again, we're going to choose publications, and then we're going to choose logo. Perfect. And then we're going to add a heading, which is going to be description. I believe we made it a little bit smaller. I think we made it 14 pixels, so let's do that. And this is going to select from post date. And the last thing we're going to do is pick another heading, and this is going to use description larger. Hit back to content, dynamic tag, and this is going to be the post title, so we're going to go to post title right here. Okay, the last thing we haven't done is add the link, so let's do that next. So we're going to go link, custom URL, dynamic tag, post URL, same thing here, link, post URL. Perfect. Okay, the one thing we didn't do is went to settings, so just make sure this is going to be called news archive, and we're going to call it Elementor Loop for the difference. And then under preview settings, we want to make sure we pick press to make sure what loads here is press, and we're going to hit apply in preview. And there it is. Let's fix one more thing. We're gonna make this 50%, max width 50, and then we're gonna give it a height of 60. We then going to move it to the left, and we're gonna bring this in a little bit closer. -10. Let's hit update. Okay, save and go back. And then now we should see 2 grids showing up here. If you don't see it, click on the loop grid in the navigator. Make sure you're choosing the News Archive Elementor loop. 3 columns, 6 items per page. Again, equal height in this case as well. If you don't see the content here, just go into your query and then make sure the source is press. And there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. From here as well, as you can see, you can look at the date and see that you want to order by date, and you want to order descending from, that means from most recent to oldest. So that's how you do it in using the loop builder in Elementor. It kind of works the same way. If you prefer to do that, knock yourself out. The reason why I like to use JetEngine is that JetEngine also provides you with advanced filtering capabilities with one of the other included plugins that they provide. So let me just get rid of this for now. Hit update. And then obviously the next thing you want to, one last thing I want to show you is if you go to mobile, you know, this doesn't look great, right? So what you can do if you don't want to show 3 columns here is when you select the listing grid from JetEngine, you can select the different columns when you're dealing with mobile, and then this looks already a lot cleaner. So that's how you kind of do that. So just make sure after you finish with everything, you give it a look in mobile, and make sure you clean it up. See it, update, save, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And that's it. That's how you create a dynamic press section in Elementor. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Your support really helps me and encourages me to create more videos just like this. Thank you, and talk to you soon.